Hero of the game. If I were writing that for anything, if I were writing it national for USA Today, Chad Henne.
Chad Henne.
He was the hero
Great
of the
story.
game.
Because, he didn't necessarily play well. He threw that interception. That was terrible. That was a Brian Hoyer pick. But with the game on the line, they put it in his hands. And he came through. And he's like freaking Brian Hoyer. Amazing. Hero of the game. Unlikely. Yes.
I mean, what a story. If you were writing that you think Mahomes goes out, they're going to lose. This guy comes in. Now, he doesn't do anything great, but he preserves the game. I would love to write that story, and I would love to talk to him afterward and see was he excited? Did he take it in stride? I'd love to look at his body language and all of that. I would think, Iggy, if you were writing for USA Today, would that be your story, Chad Henne?
Absolutely. Yes. The unlikely hero, the guy who almost gave the game away with the interception. And then when it was game on the line, 4th down and 1 at near midfield, you'd think, well, it's your backup quarterback. We'll punt or we'll run. No, we're going to call a pass and he's going to make it. He's going to execute it. And he did. Like what I was thinking there, I think a lot of Niner fans that went through their head is like, dang, like Andy Reid has more confidence and trust in Chad Henne than Kyle Shanahan has on any of his quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He only called 8 passes in that NFC Championship game last year. Here's Andy Reid calling a pass with the game on the line for his backup quarterback. What an aggressive, confident coach. There's one other thing I would think.
What a wonderful coach. Another column could be Andy Reid and having the confidence in Henne, although you could combine them in one column.
Right, because Chad Henne's like 40. He's been around forever. He's an old, and for whatever reason, Andy Reid has stuck with him as his backup, and it worked out. And he had trust in him, not just to like run the scout team in practice, but to actually win a game with his arm. I thought it was just amazing. So cool story, Chad Henne.
And again, people who are watching, this is how you think in the press box.
Yes.
It's an embarrassment of riches, and you have to choose on the spot.
The Chad Henne story is just fantastic to write. Yes.
Okay, another one would be to predict the Tampa versus the Packers, but we're going to do that later.
Real quick, though, again, with the Chad Henne thing, what I like so much about it is you don't have to overwrite it. You don't have to say he's the greatest quarterback in the world, it's the greatest accomplishment of all time. It can be he's not good, and everyone knows it, but he came through. I just love that story. It's a lot of fun. It would be fun.
He's a smaller version of Nick Foles.
Right.
Nick Foles
And you know how sports writers have a tendency to overwrite things. It was the greatest play. It was the greatest moment. And because I'm writing about it, it's going to be the greatest. It's like, no, it was just Chad Henne had this very unexpected, memorable, historic moment that he'll have the rest of his life. And we'll always remember the Chad Henne day. Doesn't mean he's great. Doesn't mean he could do it next week, but he did it this time.
Writing tips. If you're going to do this at home, young writers.
Yes.
The Cohns, who are pretty good writers, feel you should always understate as opposed to overstate.
Right.
Overstate, and I know a lot of writers who do it.
You don't want to do it. Show, don't tell, don't overstate. Be understated.